There's a kind of loneliness that is especially hard because it makes you doubt yourself. You can still have people around you. You can still have little conversations here and there. You can still scroll and watch other lives keep moving. And yet, inside, there is a hollow space that you cannot seem to fill. And the most exhausting part is not just, I am alone. It is the quiet question underneath. Does this mean I do not belong anywhere? I want you to hear one thing first. Feeling lonely is not a verdict on who you are. It is more like a signal. It is telling you that you need a kind of connection that is more real, more steady, more safe. And when your mind is tired, when your nervous system is tense, it will translate that signal in the harshest way. It will say, something is wrong with me. I am not enough. I am hard to love. But that is not truth. That is the mind on low sleep, trying to protect itself. So I'm going to place a Stoic anchor here, not to make you tough tonight, but to help your mind feel normal again. Epictetus says it simply, some things are up to us and some things are not up to us. It sounds obvious, but the relief lives here. You do not have to spend the whole night trying to control what was never yours to control. You cannot control who thinks of you right now, who replies, who stays, who understands you the way you wish they would. Trying to control that only drains you and makes the loneliness heavier. What is actually in your hands right now is how you treat yourself when loneliness shows up. You can speak to yourself in a fair voice instead of a cruel one. You can slow your body down so your mind stops turning everything into a disaster. You can stop collecting proof that you do not belong and simply notice this instead. I am needing belonging. That is all, no extra conclusion. And if you feel even a small softening as you hear that, that is a good sign. Not because the problem is gone, but because you just took your choice back. You chose to see loneliness as a signal, not as a conviction. Connected sounds like closeness, but a lot of the time it is just signal, notifications, a green dot, a scene, a few polite lines, a reaction, and still no feeling of being truly seen. The kind of scene that quietly says, yes, I get you. I am here. Belonging is not having people around you. It is the sense that you have a safe place to be yourself without performing, without proving, without always being fine. This is what makes modern loneliness strange. It often does not come from total absence. It comes from presence, but shallow presence. The mind receives many little pieces of interaction, but the heart does not receive one whole person. You can talk all day and still feel empty at night because none of it touched the real part of you, the tired part, the tender part. The part that wants to be understood without having to try so hard. Social media makes this heavier in a quiet way. It gives the impression that everyone has a circle, everyone has a place, everyone is living the right life. And you are the one standing outside, but you are comparing your backstage to someone else's stage. And that comparison creates a certain kind of loneliness that feels toxic. Loneliness mixed with self-doubt. And it is not your fault if you get caught in that loop. When you feel lonely, your brain looks for a quick sign. When it does not find one, it looks again. It is human. It is not weakness. It is fatigue, trying to soothe itself the fastest way it knows. Tonight, you only need one simple sentence. I am missing belonging, not missing signal. That sentence helps you stop turning this into a story about your worth. It helps you see what you actually need. Not more interaction, but more depth. Not more proof, but more safety. Now I am going to place another anchor so you have somewhere to return to inside yourself instead of running outward for a sign. There is a common misunderstanding about loneliness. We think it is only about lacking people. But sometimes what overwhelms us most is too many people in the mind, too many voices, too many guesses, too many, what do they think of me? Too many scenes we create and then suffer through. So even when nobody is here, the inside feels crowded, like a group chat that never ends. Seneca has a line that lands right on this state. Withdraw into yourself as far as you can. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. Listen to two things in it. First, withdraw into yourself as far as you can. That is not isolation. It is not disappearing. It is stepping back from noise. Stepping back from the habit of running outward for a sign that you still matter. Because the more you chase signs, the more scattered your mind becomes, and the more power loneliness gains. Second, Seneca is not saying, do not need anyone. He is reminding you to choose the right kind of connection, not a connection that you beg for just to feel less empty, a connection that makes you calmer, kinder, more real, and he adds, the process is mutual. Belonging is not you pleading for a place. It is two people lifting each other, naturally. Tonight, the Stoic move is not to find someone immediately. The Stoic move is smaller and more important. Clear some space inside. Quiet the inner crowd, so at least within yourself you have a place to stand. When the inside gets quieter, loneliness becomes less sharp. And you stop feeling like you have to prove something urgently just to feel okay. When loneliness rises, the nervous system often pushes us outward. The mind says, check again. Scroll a little more. Do something right now so you do not feel this. It is not evil, it is just trying to escape fast. But fast escapes can turn into dependence. We start needing an external sign to feel okay inside. Marcus Aurelius offers a different kind of relief, not be strong, but take refuge. He says, for nowhere, either with more quiet or more freedom from trouble, does a man retire than into his own soul. It sounds grand, but it is practical. If you are looking for a place to set the weight down, even for a moment, the nearest place is inside you. Not because it is always beautiful, but because it is the one place you can enter without permission. Of course, when you feel lonely, inside does not always feel peaceful. It can be full of questions, memories, comparisons. So returning inward can feel like stepping into a messy room. Marcus is not saying the room is always clean. He is saying you can create a little quiet by stopping the running. Here is the smallest shift. You do not have to answer loneliness. You only have to notice it. You do not have to defeat it. You can sit beside it, the way you sit beside a child who is afraid. When you do that, your nervous system receives a new message. I still have me. I am not completely abandoned. And even that message alone can soften the wave. Loneliness likes to lie and say you have nowhere to put yourself. Marcus is saying the opposite. You always have a place to return to, a place nobody has to open for you. And next, I want to remind you of something even deeper. You are not an exception. You are not the one person who somehow does not belong to humanity. There is a kind of loneliness that is dangerous, not because it hurts, but because it whispers that you are outside. It makes you feel like everyone has a seat, and you are the mistake in the picture. And when you believe that, you are not just lonely, you start separating yourself from the human world. Marcus Aurelius says something very plain, not sweet, just true. For we are made for cooperation, like feet, like hands, like eyelids, like the rows of the upper and lower teeth. Notice it. He is not saying we should cooperate. He is saying we are made for it. Your need to belong is not a personal weakness. It is human design. You feel lonely because you are human, not because you are broken, not because you are less worthy. And that image, feet, hands, eyelids, matters. A body part can be distant for a while, but it still belongs to the body. You might be in a season of distance, a season with fewer connections, a season without your people right now. But that does not make you an outsider to humanity. You still belong in the most basic way. You are part of the we. You do not have to do anything with this tonight. Just let it enter quietly. Needing people is normal. Wanting belonging is not shameful. When you stop blaming yourself, loneliness loses some of its edge. It stops being evidence against you. It becomes a feeling passing through you. And now we take the next step, because something often makes loneliness twice as painful. Not someone else's silence, but the story we attach to that silence. What hurts most is often not the absence itself, it is the conclusion we attach to it. Someone replies late, a plan does not get mentioned again, a chat slides down the screen, and the mind instantly translates it into a heavy sentence. I do not matter. I am a burden. I am not chosen. Loneliness becomes a courtroom, and you are both the defendant and the judge. Marcus Aurelius gives a clean, steady way to bring the mind back to normal. He says, if thou art pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs thee, but thy own judgment about it. And he adds, and it is in thy power to wipe out this judgment now. In the language of tonight, your pain is not only they are silent. Your pain is the story you finish in your head. You cannot control how busy someone is, how close or far they feel. But you can stop one thing that creates extra suffering. You can stop turning a vague signal into a final verdict about your value. Marcus gives an even more practical break for the mind. Say nothing more to thyself than what the first appearances report. Meaning, say only what the facts say and stop there. The fact is, they have not replied. That is all. Do not add, because I am not worth it. Do not add a whole movie. You do not have to convince yourself everything is okay. You only have to stop convicting yourself. The moment you stop the self-verdict, your nervous system softens, and loneliness loses some of its authority. There is a moment many people know well. You do not only feel lonely, you feel embarrassed about it. You feel ashamed to admit you need someone. Ashamed because it sounds weak. Ashamed because you do not want to feel needy. So you harden. You pretend you are fine. You tell yourself to stop caring. But the more you force it, the drier you feel inside. Stoicism does not ask you to turn into stone. It asks you not to humiliate yourself for having a human feeling. Epictetus offers a simple direction for freedom. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. Freedom here does not mean do not need anyone. It means your peace does not depend on other people behaving the way you want them to. You can want to be remembered. You can want to be chosen. That is human. But the pain becomes sharper when you turn those wants into a condition for your worth. Stoicism helps you remove that condition. You can still long for connection, but you do not trade your dignity to beg for it. Here is a sentence you can say to yourself as gently as you would say it to a friend. Needing belonging is normal. I am not ashamed for needing people. When you say that, you separate need from self-contempt. You put need back where it belongs, not as a flaw, as a human truth. Belonging is not having many people who know you exist. It is the feeling that you can breathe normally near someone. You do not have to perform. You do not have to prove. You do not have to keep yourself bright and easy all the time. Belonging is, I have a safe place to be myself, and I am not punished for it. Stoicism looks at belonging in a grown-up way. Connection is not where you go to borrow value. Connection is where you bring your character. You do not enter relationships to be rescued. You enter them to be present with decency. And if a place is not decent to you, you step back without humiliating yourself. And one more thing matters. If you are exhausted, you cannot even feel belonging, even if it is near. When your nervous system is tense, the mind scans for danger. It looks harder for signs of rejection than signs of care. So tonight, the goal is not to solve the question, who will stay? The goal is smaller and deeper. Settle your system so your mind can feel safe again, at least inside you. The simplest form of belonging is this: you do not abandon yourself. You do not need to do anything big now. Just stay the way you are, and I will guide you through something simple, something that helps your mind feel normal again. First, breathe out a little longer than usual, not deeper, just longer. Then breathe in gently. Do that a few times and let your breath find its own pace. If thoughts interrupt, that is fine. We are not fighting them. We are just not following them. Now name the feeling with one short phrase. Loneliness is here. Not to make it disappear, but to make it stop shouting. A feeling that is named often loses its sharpness. Next, take Seneca's line again, like a lullaby for the nervous system. No analysis now. Withdraw into yourself as far as you can. Listen to it the way you listen to rain. Withdraw inward, not to think more, but to stop running. Now relax one small place in the body, just one. Your jaw, or your shoulders, or your belly, only a little. No need to do it perfectly. And as you soften that one place, breathe out a little longer again, as if you are telling your body, you do not have to watch the door tonight. If your mind returns to the question, what is wrong with me? Answer softly, nothing, I am human. And stop. No explanation, no defense. And remember Marcus's refuge. The quietest place you can reach immediately is inside you. Tonight you return there to rest, not to check, not to wait, not to predict, just to sleep. If loneliness is still here, that is okay. It can sit in the corner of the room. You do not have to chase it out. You only do not let it drive. You breathe, you soften, and you let the body do its work, entering sleep. Tonight, I am not promising loneliness will vanish. I am promising something more realistic. You will not make it bigger by putting yourself on trial. You will not pour fuel on it by turning every silence into a sentence about your worth. You will let it be what it is, a wave passing through a tired human being. You do not have to defeat loneliness to be worthy. You do not have to become more interesting, more lovable, more impressive tonight in order to belong. You already belong in the deepest sense. You are human. You were made for connection. And when life places distance between people, that does not say anything about your value. It only says life has seasons. If one part of you still wants to run outward for a sign, remember the first anchor of the night. Some things are not in your hands. And your peace does not have to sit inside a delayed reply. You can place it closer in how you treat yourself right now. So let yourself get lighter. Let your body sleep without solving. Let your mind rest without answering every question. And if loneliness returns in the night, do one small thing again. Breathe out a little longer. Name it gently. Return inward. Tonight, you are not abandoned here. You are with yourself. And that is enough to begin.